Welcome to the Power of Lifting podcast. I'm EricCafferty, owner of the Mecca Gym. I am a strength and conditioning coach and a contest prep specialist. The focus of this podcast is to dive into the mindset and the drive of people who have done incredible things with their lives. Thanks for joining us. This is Mandy Keene, and tell us a bit about yourself. Tell everybody what you're famous for.
Well, I'm famous for being a big fan of Eric.
Oh, there we go.
So, I mean, I think that's why I'm here. I got just so excited. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
I'm known for being a coach for the past 22 years. I feel very blessed that I was thinking about it. You know, I have so many people I know who, you know, they didn't get to know what they wanted to be when they wanted to grow up in their 20s. Right. And I feel just so fortunate and blessed to have found something that, you know, I love and that I enjoy and I can help people with.
Yeah. So what type of coach are you?
You know, it's so funny is I don't know if you remember, you asked, I was doing the leg press. I remember that. And you asked me, you're like, you know, when it comes to coaching, you know, what are you the best at?
Yeah.
And I don't remember what I answered.
But you thought about it.
You know, yeah. And I think I gave you some BS answer just to give you something, you know?
Just give me something.
And then I remember going, I don't know. What am I? And it bothered me.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what I'm the best at. Because when it came to coaching, I've had the pleasure and honor of coaching just all different types of people from all around the world. And, you know, whether it be on health or whether it be on their marriage or whether it be on dating or money or business. And I knew I was helping people and I knew I was making an impact. I was enjoying it, but I didn't have like a tangible thing, you know, and it's funny is I coach coaches on having a niche and here I am without a niche. And I recently realized what I do that's very different than most coaches and especially different than the Mandy who started out as a coach is I would say I really coach with compassion.
Yeah.
And that compassion is what helps people have ahas and breakthroughs. You know, we've all heard the truth shall set you free, right? But you can't see the truth if you don't have compassion. I
can attest to that. I think in thinking about that, you're probably one of the easiest people in the world to talk to.
Oh, wow, thank you. That means a lot. That means a lot. Thank you.
But that's one of those things that you're like, I don't like being compassionate, you know. It's like it's very easy to have a conversation with you.
Thank you. That means a lot.
So she walked in, we walked right in here, and I was just right down talking to her. I was like, you know, no issues. Let's just go through my life.
Well,
help me with my life.
You're Hunter too. You know,
I am Hunter.
He's a big Teddy.
He is. Of course, you attracted Hunter.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I guess go into a little bit more detail about kind of how you got started and what led you to, you know, the style of coaching you do now.
Yeah. You know, it's been such a crazy, wild journey. You know, I started out at 21. I was a Tony Robbins coach.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know,
the man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah. I was obsessed with Tony since the age of 13.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So he, you know, I was raised by a single mom. And I didn't know this then, but now I look back on it. He was kind of like a pseudo father figure to me.
Yeah, for sure.
And man, I was like the biggest geek and fan. Like if he had a poster, I probably would have had it up. I'm surprised there was no poster. I was a total geek, and my mom bought me a ticket to a Tony Robbins seminar after high school graduation.
Oh, wow.
And like his seminars are pretty epic. You know, it's like a big
stories.
Party. Yeah.
They're pretty crazy.
Yeah.
From what I hear.
And so when I got involved in the environment and then I went for my dream, I felt like Rudy wanting to play Notre Dame because everyone else was like, you're too young, you're not going to make it. Yeah. And really, I think by the grace of God, I did well in the training. And I think it's just was like I shined in the training. I surprised the trainers. I surprised myself. You know, I just really followed my heart with it. And I was so excited. I was so excited to be a coach. And probably for the first 3 to 4 months, I loved it. Yeah. Because it was like a new romance.
So what does that take to be, you know, a coach for Tony? Like, what do they do? What kind of credentials or do they have? Like, what do you do as a coach for Tony, I guess?
Well, it's very different now than it was then.
Okay.
So, like, he was, it was very, like, like cowboy days. Like
this is like early 2000s.
Yeah, so,
right?
yeah, 2000.
Okay.
So it's 2000 exactly. 99, 2000. And it was the days where he can't do this now, but I went through a brutal 14-day coach training. And part of it is, and he was famous for this in the 80s because it was very controversial, is he would do these exercises where he would teach you how to be influential. Right. And to be a coach, one of the things we had to do is we were in San Diego and we had to get to the equivalent of LA and back with no ID, 2 quarters, and a little bag of almonds. And that's it. And we had to use...
Jeez. I don't know. I'm kind of digging that.
The men had to go by themselves. Women got a buddy up, thankfully, like for safety. Yeah, but when you hear what happened to us, you're gonna like cringe. My parents just, my God. So what ended up happening? You have to picture.
So you started in San Diego and you went to LA and back, basically.
Yeah, that's like the goal. But you have no money, no IDs, and you just got to use your influencing
bag of almonds,
little bag of, and a disposable camera to prove that you went.
Because cell phones didn't exist.
No, cell phones did not exist.
Well, not in the capacity.
No, like the big car phones,
Yeah. So you had 2 pennies or 2 quarters.
2 quarters.
Almonds and what?
And a disposable camera.
And that's it.
That's it. That's it. And we didn't know it was happening. So like I felt bad for some women, like were dressed like really nice, I knew that it was going to happen sometime soon. So I had like sneakers and jeans.
Heard about this.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm prepared every day.
That a girl.
Yeah.
This is why you got the job.
I'm like, I'm gonna do this. But you got a picture. So my buddy was this beautiful woman from Australia named Victoria, and you got a picture like the 2 most bright-eyed, super excited, naive as they come women, like epic naive, like trusting everyone, right?
Dude, this is every sex trafficker's dream. Right
we really like. Oh my gosh, I feel like I must have a team of angels just guarding me. So what ended up happening, right? Yeah, we went to the gas station and this woman.
Where did they release you?
Right, it was Tony had his office right in La Jolla, right across the street from the mall, and so all these coaches are just being released, and it was at night.
So they literally just kick you out of the door and be like, "Get to LA and back."
Yeah, and we're all just like, "Okay, we're gonna do this."
Did you have like a specific checkpoint you had to get to?
It just was I forget the miles, but it was just the length of like it had to be.
So you could go
journey.
any direction.
Some people went to Palm Springs. Like some people had. I know it wasn't my class, but one guy that Tony did this with, like, got a ticket to New York and back. Like, some people had some really epic stories.
Oh, you just had to travel a certain distance.
And then add value, whatever that looks like.
So what is adding value?
Are you going to find out in your story?
Yes,
is that what we're going
to find out in
sorry,
story.
I have so many questions
Yeah,
now.
like, and it's like,
this is
because
what Eric's
we
going
have
to do for new trainers now.
Because we have tools.
I'm getting ideas. That's what I'm doing.
I'll tell you why he had to shut it down, because like he got in, people, people got into trouble.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But yeah, so there's Victoria and I, super excited.
Kicked out at night.
Yeah, and we go to this gas station. I always remember this angel pulls up in this beautiful white BMW, and I'm like, let's ask her. And so we went up to her, and she was super nice, and she probably thought, oh, these women are crazy, brainwashed.
On drugs.
Yeah, right? And
definitely drugs.
She was like, well, I can take you to the bus station. That's what I could do. And we're like, great. We got to ride to the bus station. And we felt like so cool because they're like 15 minutes
making progress, right?
Yes.
Significant progress.
Yeah. So we got let off at the bus station. No money. And then we got cocky after this because we got to the bus station, and I'll remember his name was Gus, and he was like a manager at the bus station. Ran up, we saw a bus that says leaving for LA. We run up and we have like our spiel that we practiced, Victoria and I together. I don't remember what it was, but it was like how we want to change lives and make a difference and all of that, and how we need to, will you support us in our mission?
Yeah.
And
I'm sold.
I vividly remember Gus, and I didn't know it at the time because I found out later. The man Gus, he literally rolled his eyes and was like, "Get on." Like he was annoyed. And then I found out later, Gus is one of the ones who rallied to have Tony not do this anymore because he had so many people.
To his bus
Stop looking for rides for free.
It's like I literally had 16 people last week.
Yeah, he's
Damn
like,
you, just get on the bus.
He's like,
Quit
and I was like,
bothering me.
wow, he rolled his eyes, but he let us on. So,
Not his first rodeo, Gus.
we were so excited. So, and it's Saturday night. It was late at night, and we didn't know the lay of the land. So we got off at the last bus stop, which was Compton. So we got off at Compton. So bright-eyed, and
West side.
We were so excited, and we thought, oh my gosh, in 45 minutes, we already made it. Like, we're doing awesome.
God.
Yeah.
God
And-
bless you.
And
Was
so
there a time frame?
we
or
had
no?
to be back at the office, and if you didn't come back, and I remember it was like in the afternoon, like at 2 or something. We had to be back. So it was a Saturday night. We had to be back in the office like at 2
On Sunday.
on Sunday.
Okay.
And if you
Dang.
didn't make it, you weren't going to get hired as a
You're
coach.
done. Okay.
So it was very, very, very
Got it.
strict.
Yeah.
Got it.
So there we are in the bus station of Compton, super excited. And we tried to use like, those hotel phones where you could like call a hotel and have like the concierge pick you
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
So we thought maybe that'll work.
Yeah.
You have to have a room.
Sure.
Shocker.
Got
none
anything
of
for 50
none of our
cents?
none of our influencing skills worked on that. So we're
Got a
like, you
room
know
for
what?
Smith?
Right. Oh, that would have been good.
That would have been
Jones
good.
Smith,
Yeah,
man.
right.
So that didn't work. But we didn't let that stop us. We walk out of the bus station, and by this time it's like after midnight on Saturday night, and it's
Oh, yeah.
dark
Okay.
in Compton.
Yeah, wonderful.
Victoria and I did not realize the danger of the
You
city.
did not understand.
No.
You were oblivious, and
We were
that's
puppy-
probably a good thing.
Yes.
Probably, yeah.
We were puppy dogs and unicorns, and we're just going to go change lives. So we decided, you know what? Let's just go and walk.
Yeah.
So we walk out of the bus station, and we look like sore thumbs, and we're just walking out, and these 2 police officers come up to us,
Oh.
and they like in the parking lot, like we did not get far, and they're like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
where are you going? Like, and we're like, we're going to go add value, we're going to go change. And
We're gonna go on
Oh, no.
yes. And he was like, they're like, no, you're not. And I remember one of the police officers had blood on him.
Oh, good.
Oh.
And I was
wonderful.
like, I'm going to listen to this guy because he had blood on it. He's like, you're not. You're getting back in there. So police officers would not let it. They're like, you're staying the night in the bus station.
Did you say, hey, bro, give me a ride?
Yeah, can we ride to San Diego?
Right?
Yeah.
Can you give me a ride? So we ended up staying the night in the bus station at Compton. They said we
Oh,
could go
no.
ahead and add value in the morning. And so that's what we did. And we went out in Compton in the morning, and we went, and it was the first time I actually ever interacted with homeless people.
Oh.
And, it was really, I was so cocky and thinking like, here I am. They're so lucky that they're going to get this coaching from us. And I remember the homeless people that we talked to, they were like teaching us.
Oh, for sure.
They were like,
Oh, for sure.
they were our teachers. I remember this
Telling
one
you how
man.
the world really works. right?
Yeah. And it was really eye-opening. And it was, it was really interesting because I was like, wow, a lot of the homeless people we talked to, they actually seemed okay with their life. Like one guy sold t-shirts, and he's like, I get 3 meals a day. I'm selling t-shirts. Like he was like happy.
That's
and
wild.
right. And I know that there's others that don't have that story, but we'd find out later that the places where we were in and those cops like saved our lives. Like, who knows what would have happened if we went out. Like, again, team of angels.
Right. Yeah. No,
team of angels.
No wonder why he doesn't do that.
Yes.
Track anymore.
Yeah, but there was always some good stories. So many guys had so many great stories.
So did you just take the bus back? Is that how it worked?
Yeah. So the police officers bought our tickets to go back the next day.
Good enough distance.
Yep.
Oh wow.
So we did it.
Oh god. Oh, bless you. Yeah. Bless you.
Right?
So you passed this, the Hell Week version.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say that's exactly what it sounds like.
Yes.
And then where did your journey take you from there?
So then we were coaching, I had over 100 clients.
So what type of coaching did you do?
So we were called results coaches, and it was really, it was like time management, and over 90% of the coaches, 90% of my clients are clients. They really wanted coaching on money and business.
Gotcha.
But here was 21-year-old Mandy, like never been a business owner, no experience, but I knew the content really well. Like, I drank the Kool-Aid like no one else. And
you know what? I do love that about you. You are the world's best Kool-Aid drinker.
I am. When I get into Kool-Aid, you're just, I'm gone. I'm gone.
I just love, that's like, it's like almost like, and this, I don't mean this to be offensive in any way, but it's almost like that childlike trust.
Yes.
I've never had that in my life.
I know.
I did not come out of the womb with that.
No, I bet you came out of the womb skeptical of
exactly.
your mother. Are you my mother?
Yeah, seriously. And then Mandy's like so trusting, and I'm just like, oh my God, I love you for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you knew all this content. You were coaching people on, how to manage their time and do things with business. So what type of clientele was that? Was that
mostly entrepreneurs? Because mostly entrepreneurs will pay for coaching.
Gotcha.
People who are working corporate. Like, now it's different, but back then it was mostly salespeople, mostly entrepreneurs, mostly business owners, because that's who was like Tony's ideal target market.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So these were people, starting their own companies, trying to do sales and things like that. And I'm assuming that now, 20 years later, your clientele's probably somewhat similar.
It is. It's weird. They're just, I would say, a higher level. Like, I don't coach beginners anymore. I coach people who are crushing it and very successful.
Tony Robbins kind of net probably caught a lot of people that were just getting started, and Tony was the one that they knew. And there wasn't like, what did the marketing landscape look like back then? I mean,
it was all about Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Oh.
That was what was really big.
Oh, really?
That's I think almost every coaching client, I gave that book as a homework assignment.
Oh, wow.
Read Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Okay.
And that was the Kool-Aid we were all drinking,
Okay.
Now Tony has a lot of his own content with business, but that was what we really leaned on. And I would say it was primarily real estate, because Tony started in real estate in the very beginning before he like branched out. So
before Shallow Hal.
Yeah, exactly. So so it's primarily real estate agents, I would say. It's like a profession.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how was it working in that environment? You said you loved it at first, and then you kind of you grew out of it a little bit.
Yeah, it really was like a love affair, where in the beginning it's like a Hollywood romance.
It's like turned into an abusive relationship.
Yes, like the dopamine was I bet my brain was lit up like a Christmas tree, because like the dopamine, and I'm like in cloud, because I dropped out of college.
Yeah.
And I had people go like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm gonna go work for Tony Robbins." And so I seriously was like, I proved myself. I'm 21, living in San Diego, being a professional coach.
Yeah.
Like, I made it.
Yeah.
And so what ended up happening after 3 or 4 months was I started, and I never felt this way before, because I've always been more of a happy person. I started getting really sad. And I didn't know why. And like in that environment, because it was like a culture of like always being up.
Right.
And always being happy, and always like we would literally send each other back outside the building if we did not walk in the building with a high posture and our head high and a smile on our face. Like you weren't
It's
even
a lot of pressure.
right. Oh my gosh! And that's when my migraines started too. So I was popping Excedrin like Tic Tacs because I kept getting headaches, but I didn't know why. I was on my way to work and I was crying on the way to work, and I didn't know why. And I would like wipe off the tears and like redo my makeup and then put on my happy Mandy, Coach Mandy face. Yeah. And I was like so ashamed that I was sad because I felt like I had this dirty little secret that I couldn't share, but I didn't know why. That Mandy had no idea what was going on. Yeah. Now I can look back and I could tell what was going on.
Yeah.
But
hindsight.
Yeah. It was, it wasn't an authentic space. It wasn't safe to like, and we didn't, this is pre-Brene Brown,
Sure. Yeah.
Like vulnerability. You're familiar with Brene Brown?
Yes.
Yeah, you guys. So vulnerability, authenticity, that wasn't in our culture. That wasn't the language.
No, that was not the thing back then for sure.
Yeah.
Well, just anywhere. Like, I don't even think, maybe just not even particular to the career you were on, but just overall professionalism.
Yeah.
Overall carrying yourself in public.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Put on the mask.
Yeah.
Go outside and smile.
Exactly. Yeah. And who had the best mask, wins.
Yeah.
And so the biggest thing that was bothering me, and I started creating, I remember, an Excel spreadsheet of my clients, because I was like, what's really going on? Because we're about results. So like if you hired me to coach you, let's say you had the result of getting to your gym, your business in your gym to a certain point.
Right.
And so I felt like I got into this business because I wanted to help people.
Right.
And my conversations started to seem like Groundhog's Day. Where it was like the same problem over and over, and every 2 weeks it was like, hey Eric, so how's the gym going? Well, it's going. Or like if you wanted to write a book, like how's it? Well, this happened with my kids and and I was like, oh my gosh, am I helping? Am I making a difference?
Right.
Because it was like I wasn't witnessing progression.
Yeah.
And it was weighing on me, but you weren't supposed to talk about it. Like, we didn't. I didn't feel safe to go, hey, do you guys know what you're doing? Because I don't think I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I was going to bring it out here in the break room real quick.
Yeah, exactly.
Have any idea what you're doing?
So how did you end up getting out of that, and where did your journey take you from there?
I just, after less than 2 years, I just got burned out because I don't believe in having over 100 clients, and it was just too much. So I got burnt out, and I went into it being very altruistic and wanting to help people, and then I came out being almost like Leonardo DiCaprio, Wolf of Wall Street. I'm like, I don't care about helping people. I just want to make money. So it changed me. Where I was like, and that really wasn't authentically me, but that's at the moment. And so I'm like, I want sales. I want to be in sales. I'm going to make money. That's what I'm going to do.
I already know how to coach people in sales.
Exactly.
So I'll just coach myself.
Yeah, and I had all my clients who were making all this money in sales, and I'm like, I could do that.
Right.
So I got into sales, and so me, very trusting.
There we go.
Tell us.
God, I feel like this is like a confessional podcast now. My gosh.
Somebody could be listening to this and be like, oh my gosh, she is me.
She is right.
Yeah. If you're naive and trusting, welcome to the club. Like that. I don't think I'm ever going to change that, but I appreciate people like you. Like, I've surrounded myself with people like you. Like, and my husband's like you. He's like not trusting, so skeptical.
Yes,
like, I need to have that.
Yeah.
Because hey, should I go down this path? Like, what do you think? Yeah. So I got involved with a company that was selling like offshore investments.
Oh, hey.
That later got exposed on 60 Minutes.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. That is awesome.
I was still selling for them when the episode aired, and I was in the background. I'm like, oh my gosh, there I am. Like, because they had one of their undercover reporters come to Cancun, so and I'm like, oh my gosh, tonight on 60. I'm like, how do I overcome this objection?
Doing that?
So we sold like offshore investments, and it was all about like learning about the Federal Reserve. I did learn a lot. Like, I had no idea about, like, the IRS is actually a private organization, and I, like, got through this. And so and you know me, Kool-Aid drinker, so I went all the way.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
My mom actually intervened because I was like, I shouldn't have to pay for taxes. It's a private organization. My mom's like, that is a monster you do not want to fight. So my mom, like, made me file for my taxes.
Good for her.
Right? Because she's like, I agree with you. I get it. But I don't want my baby Mandy going to jail. So
I also don't want to go to prison.
Right?
So I pay.
Right? Yeah. Exactly.
You
Exactly.
gotta do what you gotta
On
do.
time.
Yeah. So it was a very radical, like, let's be free and sovereign thing, and, like, invest in offshore investments. And and I was really good at selling it, and I loved it. But then, you know, you can't really overcome that objection.
Yeah.
See yourself on 60 Minutes.
And that
that's
is actually
amazing.
what made me go, you know what? That break helped me go, I really miss coaching.
Yeah.
And that's when I want to get back into.
Yeah.
And so I actually got back with Tony, but I was with virtual. So you didn't have to move down to San Diego.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, I can do this. And it was, I had a lot more freedom to do my own style.
Gotcha. And you didn't have to have a million clients.
No. I could set a boundary with them since I had kind of seniority and experience. And so it was like, okay, I'm going to do that while I figure out what I really want to do.
Gotcha.
And that's led me back into coaching.
And that helped you kind of get your foot back in the door. So where does Russell come along in this?
So Russell came along. So I went to Emmett High. Go Huskies.
Yeah. What's up?
Is Hunter from here?
I am.
Okay,
yes.
so you know Emmett.
I do know Emmett.
It's so funny. My friends are like, "You're really proud." I'm like, "Yeah, I am."
Represent.
Right. So I went to high school with an awesome man by the name of Robbie Summers, and Robbie saw on Facebook that I had written a book on coaching.
Oh.
And he's like, wow, so not only you're a coach, but you know coaching. I have a friend of mine who has a company where he has internet marketing coaches, and he wants help with training them and actually how to coach.
Oh.
And his friend was Russell Brunson.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, and so he introduced me to Russell, and we just immediately hit it off.
How could you not?
Right.
I know, right?
I think the first time I met Russell, I talked to him for like 3 hours.
Really? Oh, I could see that. Oh, I'd love to hear that conversation.
Yeah. Diarrhea mouth Eric over here. It's bad. Just all my employees and my wife make fun of me. Just stop. I'm like, I'm an introvert, I swear.
Right, yeah, you sound like Russell.
Yeah.
You know what? I find like it's an introvert, but you have to have it's more about you're picky about the quality of the conversation.
I could, yeah, absolutely. And I don't want to talk to just anyone.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, either.
Yeah.
You know, which is funny. I was talking to a group of our coaches here yesterday, and we were talking about like sales and consultations and things like that. We have some new people, and it's like, you know, consultations are like kind of scary to new people, which all of them are, you know, have plenty of experience and they're total badasses and way better than I was when I first started, but especially the consultation piece of it. But you know, it's still like something that we all get together and talk about, obviously, to just go through it and make everybody kind of on the same page, blah blah blah. But I was thinking about it as I was having this conversation, and I'm like, you know, essentially telling them like, dude, if you got somebody walking through the door here, like it's already a sold deal, right?
Totally.
I mean, if you can get somebody to physically spend time to drive to your place of business and meet with you, like if you don't sell them, then they just don't like you, basically.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
let's
It's
be
like
honest.
something's wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, it's not like they just have to click something. Like they
Yeah.
have to physically put in effort. They want this, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, using the example, like, think of that. So that shouldn't be scary. That like, think of that compared to like meeting somebody out in a public place or at an event and they have no clue who you are.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't.
That's
know,
hard.
They don't follow you on Instagram. They don't know who you are from Billy Joe down the street. Right. But now you got to go and sell to them. Right. So it's like you're talking about the whole Tony thing, kind of fish out of water.
Yeah.
So I used to like pride myself in like, if I went to some sort of event, I'd be like, I'm gonna get like 3 people's phone numbers or 1 person's phone number from like, not even like a marketing event or like any sort of thing. It was like, event. I'm going to a wedding. I'm gonna get
seriously
get 1 client from this. Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, yeah.
It worked.
Oh, without fail.
Oh, because is that how he got you?
No.
Oh.
No. He worked really hard for me.
Hunter played hard to get.
I bet.
No, obviously because he's had clients out the wazoo over the years, and so that's why I'm saying it worked.
Yeah. Well, it's just, talking to people, and like, if you can cold sell somebody like that, then like you know that you can actually sell in some way, shape,
that's
or form.
true.
You know what
That's
I mean?
So true.
So anyway, it's just
you would be good at going to LA and back with the almonds and the 2. You would probably you would be like
LA and back it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes.
I mean, keep in mind, I like, go hike and get lost in the woods for fun. Like, so.
We are so opposite.
LA
that would freak me out.
Not a big deal.
I know. You're like real bears.
Yes. But anyway, so yeah, Russell's awesome. We've had him on the podcast. He was an amazing guest.
Yes, episode.
Oh, I need to listen to that. I didn't know you had
for
it.
everybody.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, graced us with his presence, which how nice is that? I mean,
he's like, seriously, he's the nicest internet marketing guru on planet. Like, there's you can't tell me someone that's nicer than.
I can't imagine meeting one of those guys that's not Russell and liking them more in person than I do online. I like Russell so much more in person than I do in his videos, because, I mean, like, big shocker, he's way more relaxed in person than he is in his videos.
Right, yes.
But he's just so authentic.
He is.
So just, normal.
Yes.
Like, he's so normal. He's so well spoken. He's such a great speaker.
Yeah.
You can't argue with any of his abilities. He's an incredible person at what he does and otherwise. But just his authenticity, in person, he's a totally, normal guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which I love. He's got a family. He has kids that some of them are my kids' age. Like, he's great.
Yeah.
And
you've trained some of his kids?
Yeah, I've trained his kids. I've, coached him and his wife, and, my kids have played with his kids. They're just great people.
They really are.
Right?
They really are.
So what a great person to meet.
Oh my gosh. I thank Robbie still to this day. He's like, stop it. I'm like, no. I'm like, thank you. And like, sometimes I'll get verklempt. I'll like seriously, because I'm like, thank you, because meeting Russell has totally changed my life. Yeah. And Russell has helped me just by giving me he's given me so many opportunities, and he's pushed me way outside my comfort zone, because like, I would never speak before. Like, I didn't do any public speaking, and Russell's like, hey, would you? And he's impossible to say no to.
I imagine that.
Oh my gosh, like, you could not say no to him, like, because he's so happy and excited, and it's like, and there's so many times Russell would ask me to speak. He's like, would you do this? And like, and short notice too.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's Tuesday. He wants me to speak on Thursday. And it's like,
of course.
Yeah, okay, absolutely. And then I hang up, and then I put the brown bag, and I'm like, oh my gosh, can I do this? Like,
Okay, I gotta go make some slides.
I don't know if he knows who he asked to speak, but he, like, that saying, like, you see something more in me than I see in myself. And that's what he's been for me. He's been such a great friend and mentor that way.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So what exactly is your role with Russell, and how has that all, I guess, manifested from, your past with Tony and things like that? How, and how are you coaching people now? Like, in what capacity?
Yeah, it's so wild, because I feel like, I feel so grateful to have had the experiences I've had, because I get now why some of the other coaches were worried about me coaching at 21. That Mandy was way too cocky, and my ego was out of control, because I was like, I can do it, right?
Like that Dunning-Kruger effect, right? It's that graph with like,
you know very little, but you're like super confident and cocky and all
Yes.
that stuff, and then it does like
Yes,
You
that's
know?
exactly it. Like
Yeah.
I knew nothing. Like I'm like, oh, I understand why they were concerned about me working with people's psyche at 21 years old.
Yeah,
You know.
right.
So what I'm doing now is he's got an elite mastermind called Russell's Inner Circle, as well as
Yeah.
another one called Category Kings, and they're, you know, you have to be grossing at least $1 million in your business to be a part of it, and you have to be awesome. Like seriously, he actually has that in the thing. Like you have to be awesome.
Noted.
Yeah, right. And they are awesome. They're incredible entrepreneurs, and most of them, like, they have businesses where they're legit making an impact and helping people, and they're crushing it. It's like the best of both worlds. You know, they really break that myth that you can be wealthy and be a super nice, humble person and make an awesome impact.
Yeah.
And like that's who's in this group. And I have the honor of coaching them on their mindset. You know, one of the things I say is Russell helps you with the marketing and the business. That's not my swim lane. I'm here to make sure that you're happy. I'm here to make sure you're enjoying the ride. Like that's my job.
I want to enjoy the ride.
Right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Right, that's what it sounds like.
So
what does that look like on a day-to-day for you?
I have coaching sessions, and I balance my self-care with it so I don't get burnt out like I did. But I typically coach Monday through Thursday, and typically 6 to 7 sessions a day.
That's still a lot.
It is. It
Because,
is.
I mean, I don't know.
It's a lot of
Our
energy.
Listeners coach people, but if anybody does, I mean, anybody who's coached people understands, like, it takes, like, you're giving those people your energy.
Yeah. Bless you. Bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's why like usually on my coaching days, like when you were scheduling this podcast, I'm like, I would be toast if like I
Yeah.
tried to schedule the like, you know, I got a full night's sleep, you know,
Yeah.
so I'm well rested. I want
Bright-eyed, bushy-tailed.
exactly. And so and I do Fridays for doing fun things like this, or, you know, getting my teeth cleaned.
fun.
Yeah, you guys are fun.
We have made it.
Oh, yes.
We are fun.
Yeah. And so I help them, and with whatever, you know, the common question I ask them is like, what's holding you back from
Yeah.
peace? What's holding you back from enjoying your life? And then that usually opens the door to, you know, what
Yeah.
thorn is in their side.
Well, I need $20 million.
Right.
No, that is really good. So tell us a little bit about the coaching itself. What are some of the things that you utilize as tools? I do want to talk about the disc, because that was just extremely fun to talk about. But tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, you know, I got to always, I believe in thanking your teachers and giving credit where credit's due. So back, it was actually in 99 when I went through my first Tony coach training. And this is what I truly believe got me hired as a coach, because they were not going to hire me. A man by the name of Robert Alderman came into the room, and he was like a tall, like buff Tommy Lee Jones. Like he was intimidating. Like,
I like that
serious guy, and he's teaching us disc, and like we were all like scared of him and intimidated by him. And
This was in 99.
99.
Disc. All right. Wow.
yeah, and I remember just like I was super excited, but I was extremely insecure because I didn't think, you know, I was going to be able to get hired because they told me I wasn't.
I was told that I wasn't.
You know, it was, they said that they loved me, they wanted me to have the training, but Mandy, you're not going to make it. Like, just enjoy the training. And so I was like, I'm going to prove them wrong. But I was so nervous. And I remember he taught us DISC. So if you're not familiar with DISC, it's a behavioral assessment. It's widely used in corporate America.
Right.
And I remember he read all our discs. So he did a really cool thing. He didn't teach it.
So you took the assessment.
I took the assessment, and he read everyone's disc, and he had a similar disc to you. So he was a low I, so he didn't sugarcoat anything. And he ripped some people.
There you go.
So like, he's like, I'd be concerned about you as a coach because of this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want him to read mine. I don't want him to read mine. I was so scared. And I remember him looking at my disc and looking at me, looking at my desk and looking at me. And he said, you'd make a great coach. And I was like, oh, Robert Alderman said I would make a great coach. And I remember thinking, like, trainers, did you hear that?
Yeah.
Huh?
I'm making it. Yes,
Right?
I'm making it.
And I had done admin before with Tony, and I was terrible at it. Like, because I was traveling around on his sales team doing administrative work. And I didn't know who I was. I didn't know that I'd be bad at it. I think, how hard could admin be? You would fire me in 5 minutes. Like, I was terrible. I kept making mistakes. And I blurted out to him, I go, can you tell me why I was bad at admin? And he goes, what did you do? I go, I was doing administrative work before. Yeah. And he goes, and here's this like serious, gruff, man,
Yeah.
like, and he let out a giggle, like a little girl. Like, it sounded like we all like turned like someone farted. It was like, what did this just happen?
Yeah.
He's like, you'd be terrible in admin. And I go, I was. And so that's what hooked me. I was like, how does he know this from this silly graph? Like, from this assessment? There's a
red line, a yellow line, a green line, and a blue line.
Yeah. It was really
about you now.
Yeah, and so I geeked out on DISC, and I started studying DISC, and I read everyone else's DISC, and I believe that's also what saved me it's what got me hired, and it's what saved me as a coach at a young age. Because like if I was coaching someone like you, I would know not to chit chat, right? Because you're a high D and you're a low I and you're a high C, so you're the opposite of me. And so, but I learned how to adapt my communication style to coach someone like you. Right. So that, and I'm pretty sure Hunter's got to be a high I. I mean, I would want you to take it, but like.
I did once. Or did I not? I don't remember.
I was having everybody on staff take the assessment at one point, but the one on Tony's site that I was using like kind of changed.
I know, he took away the free version.
Yeah, he did.
You have to pay for it.
Version.
Yeah,
and it's worth paying for, but
it is. It's one of the few assessments because like you can take Enneagram for free, you could take Myers-Briggs for free. So DISC is a racket. Yeah. Like there's these people who own the rights to it who won't let it out for free. And so there's a whole like you got to be certified, and there's a lot of red tape with it that I wish wasn't there. Yeah,
it's crazy. I remember when you had me take it, and you're like, oh, started saying things, and I'm like, how do you know that? how excuse me?
Yeah, right. Now I'm scared.
Yeah, and so then, you're like explaining it to me, and I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And then, it's just interesting having other people take it, and it's like, now it's like if somebody takes a DISC, and it's funny because people like will know nothing about that, like, oh yeah, it's a behavior, it's like a behavioral assessment or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And they take it and like show it to you, and it's like if they don't understand what that actually tells you, like they don't realize like, oh, now I know everything about you.
Yeah.
Like you literally when you read somebody's DISC, you're like, oh, okay.
Yes.
You like know, you can like predict decisions that they're gonna make and like things like that. So tell us a little bit about the DISC, what it actually assesses, and then how you utilize that with clients.
Yeah. I know it's spooky. I've had people go like, "Are you a psychic?" I'm like, "I wish." I think
so much money.
That would be so cool, but it's putting the puzzle pieces together. So we all have different ways of communicating, and DISC is like learning a new language.
Right.
And so, there's the D, the I, the S, the C, and high D's like you, and Russell is a high D as well. He's got a high I, so it makes it different. So what you're combined with matters, and so that's getting a little more advanced. Yeah. But the D's are driven by anger, and so that's why they're very passionate, they're very dominant. And I'm sure have you ever been given the feedback that you come across intimidating?
Never. What are you talking about?
That's not me. You're wrong about that one, Mandy.
Right. Yeah. So you combine someone like you, Eric, that has a high D and a low I. It's like D's in themselves are intimidating, but when you're a D with the low I, it's like triple intimidating because you don't have that. Like Russell has a high I, so the high I kind of softens Russell, where it's like that high I was driven by people. High I's want to be liked, and so that's why we're funny and charming and trusting and positive, right? Where you low I's are more skeptical.
Yes.
Right. Yes.
Skepticism.
Yes. And then you got the S, and the S's are the steady eddies. You want to hire lots of S's because they get the job done. They're reliable, but they're also there's a bright side and a dark side to every behavioral style. And so I'm a high S as well, and so that's why I love coaching the same people over and over again. I have a routine. I wake up the same time every day, so we're very routine based. But we can our dark side is we have a harder time with speaking the truth when we're upset. And so what we can do is be passive aggressive. So like if I'm like, wish my husband did the dishes, instead of saying, hey, would you help out with the dishes? I would just be slamming the cupboard doors, that's, can you get the message? Right. So that's like the dark side of us high S's.
Yeah. I remember you told me about that at one point in time, and you're like, the high S's are the one that like just keep like taking it and taking it and taking it until they can't take it anymore. And then they explode.
Yes, the highest volcano.
The highest volcano. This explains a lot, honey.
Yes, we don't, and you don't understand it as a high D, low I, because if you're pissed, you're gonna immediately tell someone.
Yeah,
you don't hold it in. Yeah, you don't hold it in. So it's like you don't understand why our brains would go, okay, I'm just not gonna tell them. But we're so driven by the need to serve. And so that's why we're that way. And so it's super important for us. We have to learn how to communicate when we're upset.
Yeah. So what about the high C's?
And then the high C's, I love the high C's because I'm a low high C and I need you high C's, are the cautious, and I think that's why like you're meticulous with your training. Like high C's are cross the T's, dot the I's. Detail people, rule driven, so they want to follow the rules. However, someone like you combine your high D with the high C, you will follow the rules you want to follow. So that's like you make the versus someone who's, let's say, a 99C and a low D. Those are the people who are like, what are the rules of, let's say, the gym, or what are the rules of the government? And they're compliant. The C stands for compliance. So they want to be compliant. Those are the people that are very cautious. Whereas the low C's are like, rules are meant to be broken.
Yeah, I'm certainly not a rules are meant to be broken type of person. Of course, I'm a high regulatory too.
Yes.
So that's a whole different can of worms, of course. And that's your
motives and your values. And I love, so this is why I do love recommending Tony's disc, because, and you got to get the $25 version. I do recommend it because it has the combination of the disc and the values. Because the values is like what drives you. And I think that's where like you were like, how do you know this about me? Because when you combine what your disc is, and you take it and I'll give you a reading, Hunter.
Please do.
Because I know, like, I feel the curiosity, right? Like, what am I? And what is like...
I'm going off the charts right now.
Yeah.
I want to know myself.
Exactly. See, that's my favorite quote. Know thyself, Socrates. That's what we got to do while we're here. So you combine the values, then you know what makes someone tick. Whenever I have a client who's depressed or sad, I immediately look at their values, because like you were sharing with me how you weren't fulfilled in real estate, right? And I bet we could look at your values of like why you weren't fulfilled in real estate, and like now you doing this and being here, why it's so much more fulfilling, because I bet you it's meeting your values. And if you become conscious of that, you can make more conscious, deliberate decisions going, this would be better for me because of my values.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So cool.
It is super interesting.
Yeah, I love I love all the assessments. I love them all. I mean, they each have their own benefit.
Yeah. So is that something that you do with your clients?
Yeah.
And we've had the conversation about this, so I know the answer, but do explain to people how they can change over time too, right? Like your disc.
Yeah. So, what I care about is helping my clients be true to themselves.
Right.
And, and I always like to give this disclaimer that DISC is an assessment. We're so complicated and deeply profound as human beings. It's not going to encompass who you are completely, but it could be a puzzle piece to helping put together other things that we know about you based on your life experience. But with the Tony's version of the DISC, you have your natural and your adapted. And so I like to coach people on making sure that they're adapted and they're natural or in alignment. Because when you're natural and you're adapted are the opposite, that's when you're under stress.
Yeah.
And that's when it's no bueno. Like anybody can do anything for a short period of time.
Right.
But like me, you know, can you imagine me as like a high pressure salesperson? Like when I was in
There's the giggle.
No, I can't.
right?
You would be terrible.
Right.
Well, I don't think you would be terrible at that, truth be told, but I think that you would be miserable.
I was.
Yeah.
I was. Yeah. I got good, but I was miserable. Yeah. And so it's like your disc, like your natural, who you naturally authentically are never changes, but we adapt. And so when we learn like, oh, like I like to use the metaphor of animals because it's really easy. Like if you're a penguin, you need to be in the cold. What are you doing in the desert? Right?
Yeah.
But if you've been bullied by other people saying, hey, no, you need to come to the desert because you don't know you're a penguin, you don't know who you are.
You don't know you're a penguin.
Exactly.
Another t-shirt. We get t-shirt quotes.
There you
Here
go.
every episode. This is this one.
Oh, I love it.
You don't know you're a penguin.
Exactly. You know?
So you gotta put somebody where they're gonna thrive. Right?
Exactly. Exactly.
That's so weird because it feels so obvious. Like when you put it in that context.
Yes.
But then as person, the complicated beings, then you kind of figure out what you are.
Yeah.
And you're like, why would I ever do something like that?
The lights go on and it's like you can't unring the bell and you see, you don't know how many.
Can't unring the bell.
You know, you don't know how many staunch introverts I've helped get out of network marketing.
Oh.
Because they beat themselves up that they, you know, were drinking the network marketing Kool-Aid, which that is Kool-Aid I've drank myself.
Oh,
no surprise there.
Me as well.
Right?
Actually.
Right? It's hard not
hard
to.
not to
It's a
drink that.
really good Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
And
it's a really promising Kool-Aid.
it is. It's so
And,
seductive.
yeah, well, truth be told, and like when I drank that Kool-Aid, I did it because like the vitamins that I was selling at the time were just, they were really good vitamins.
Yeah.
And
Sometimes
they
the products are really great.
Yeah, it was a great product, and so yeah.
Yeah. But if you're like a staunch introvert,
Yeah.
it's not. It's harder.
Yeah.
And so it's
totally.
helping people like, oh, like you don't know how many of them like, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. I don't have to be gregarious like Larry, you know?
Yeah.
Always comparing yourself to Larry.
Yeah,
Larry.
you know, Larry. You're not going to ever be like Larry. It's okay.
Everybody's got that guy. I had a Larry that was the person who talked me into like getting involved with it, and really I got involved with it because the guy I was working for at the time also sold these vitamins, and he's like, oh yeah, you can totally sell them to your clients, it'll be great, blah blah blah. This is like back when I first started training, and then my version of Larry came along and was like the person that was like the head of the, you know, the tree or whatever, and it was just a disaster at that point.
Yeah.
I still know the guy, and he's a nice enough guy and everything, but everybody knows who he is, and it's like they just, you know, there are people that avoid people like that. For sure.
Yeah, no, what made me quit network marketing is when one of my girlfriend's husbands came to me to have a private conversation, and he's like, I need you to not bring up whatever the business was I was in to, you know, his wife, my friend, because she thinks that you're only being friends with her because of that. And I was like, I've become one of those people.
Yeah.
I do not want to, like, nothing is worth, you know, the friendship.
Yeah, it's like when you start, they're like, oh, who do you know? Like they literally, you know, they get all of these people into network marketing just to like get these people's inner circle, because they know that, like, you know, if they put a little bit of effort into you, you know, 5 people that just love you enough to just jump on board with you and whatever.
Yes.
Right? So it's like, you know, okay, well, at least I'll get their 5 people, and then if they never do anything else, you know, it was worth, you know, a few hours of my time because I've just gotten their little inner circle.
Exactly.
And then every once in a while they hit some winners and get some people that hustle.
Yeah.
And bada bing, bada boom. But dude, not my. I can't, like, you got
to eat, breathe, and sleep it.
Oh, dude. Well, even if it is like a decent product, like I was doing, like before long, he's like, hey, we need to venture out into doing like, do these, this skincare line. And I'm like, excuse me?
How to lose Eric.
Yeah. I'm a 18-year-old bodybuilder. I ain't giving facials, bro.
Yeah.
Not those kind of facials. You know what I mean? There's no way.
Not doing that.
Not doing that.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's a real quick way to, but the MLMs, there's a ton of them out there. And the thing that, I guess it shouldn't shock me, but man, they're worth a lot of money, those companies.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah.
Hot dog.
Yeah.
That's an effective way to go.
Yeah.
The big sports arena down there in Utah, it's all the Vivint or whatever, their security company. I really didn't hear nothing until like at the end of high school, and all of a sudden they're sponsoring arenas. It just was just like that. And that's what they did. They had all the kids going out. Vivint, it's a home security.
Oh, that's a MLM home security? Mm-hmm. Really? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I had very multiple. Okay, because I'm a returned LDS missionary.
Oh, okay.
So that's who they target.
Oh yeah.
100%.
Oh, because you guys are like the Marines of sales.
Because that's what we do. That's what we did for 2 hours.
That is so true.
I like that. Anyway, so just constant offers and offers and offers. And I knew for a fact that there was no way for me to do that. So I was like, screw it. But anyway, crazy. Yeah. There's a lot of money or whatever goes into that, man.
Yeah, it's nuts. I'm like, dude, how do I make personal training in MLM?
That's right.
Talk to Russell about it. He'll have some ideas, right?
Yeah,
there you go.
Seriously, but no, for real. I'm a person that it's impossible for me to sell my soul.
Yeah, see,
You know
that's
what I mean?
but that's why
I
you
can't
have the
do it.
respect in the community. That's something that I appreciate, because I was completely ignorant about this fitness model industry, right? It's like another world. If you're not in it, you're not aware of it. And you telling me about what some of the shady stuff that a lot of trainers do to win fitness competitions, right? And
Prevalent.
right, and then how you don't do that, and how you have that integrity. But I think people talk. That's the thing, is people are walking billboards.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And that's why I believe you're where you're at, is because of your integrity.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do the snake oil. I can't and that's what makes marketing hard for me. You want to talk about strengths and weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes, the marketing more of a challenge for me, is because I'm not going to sell fear. I'm not going to sell snake oil. Right. All of these things that are super effective marketing tools, I'm just not going to prey on people for, and a lot of also the evidence-based protocols and things that we do because they're effective, it's not sexy.
Yes, exactly. That's why I
to-
suck at marketing myself too.
Oh,
exactly.
Yeah.
We're both
It's hey guys, okay, we're gonna eat a similar thing, but it doesn't have to be the same. We're gonna track macros, okay? We're gonna exercise about an hour 5 days a week. We're going to do very similar movements every week. There's not going to be much change, but you're going to lose about 3/4 of a pound a week for the next 6 months.
Yeah.
And people are like, you lost me.
Yeah, they want the 30-day, 60-day.
6 months, sorry.
Yeah.
You lost
Give me a beach body, Eric, in 30 days. Come on.
Can't we just cut down on the carbs? Carbs are the enemy after all, right? We're just gonna start the war on carbs, and we're gonna go hard, and it's not
War on
jam,
carbs.
man.
I'm writing these T-shirts. I'm doing it. I'm writing this stuff down.
War on carbs. Starting the war on carbs. So how are things going for you? Tell us what.
Wonderful. I'm honestly, I'm so grateful, because I know life always changes, and so right now at this moment, I'm truly in one of the happiest chapters of my life.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm really I mean, I have just the sweetest, funniest, cutest, sexiest husband. There you go.
We a lot of qualities we love.
Right, right. It's it's very rare to find funny, smart, and sweet.
Yes.
It's the culmination, and he's all those, and I get a laugh every day.
Good.
And so, and then we have the cutest, as you know, golden retriever,
Yes.
Whiskey. So
Whiskey.
yeah.
Nice. Whiskey?
Yeah. Curtis named her, and so funny, because the little kids in the neighborhood, I'm like, oh my gosh, they're all yelling Whiskey, But I
Classic
really love
rant.
my life. I have incredible girlfriends, and I get to do something I enjoy, and I work with just extraordinary, entrepreneurs, world changers every day. I'm just truly, truly blessed.
Yeah.
I've gone through some hell to get here, but
Yeah.
I'm very, very grateful.
Experience, right?
Yeah, experience.
Chalk a lot of it up to experience.
Totally,
right?
yeah.
So when you say that you're helping entrepreneurs, like what are some of your goals when you're working with people? You mentioned that you have some questions that you ask, but like, if somebody's listening to this and they're like, man, could I benefit from this? Like, what are some of the things that you're helping people work through and such?
Well, a great mentor and teacher of mine who has just really changed the quality of my coaching the past couple of years. His name's Dr. Gabor Mate. Have you heard of him?
Oh man, that's a mouthful.
Yeah, Dr. Gabor Mate. So I love Russell Brand. So I listen to Russell Brand.
yeah.
He was on a Russell Brand interview, and I was like, this guy is cool. He's in his 80s, and he's a retired family physician. He worked with, for over a decade, he worked with people in palliative care who were dying of MS and cancer.
That's
and
a rough gig.
Right.
Wow.
And he saw a common thread of their personalities.
Oh, interesting.
And he wrote an incredible book that just changed my life called When the Body Says No. And it's all about the mind-body connection.
Interesting.
And like I had done all this stuff physically to help, as you know, I've suffered from migraines.
Right.
And I was like, could my migraines be linked to what's going on with me as far as my psychology? Like I was just completely ignorant of that.
Yeah.
And I went down the rabbit hole of he's also an addiction specialist. He's also
interesting.
worked with the most addicted people in Vancouver, Canada for over a
Man.
decade.
Hastings Street.
Yeah. Like
Driven down that street.
Have you?
yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
dude.
wow.
Those are the people he's just an expert on addictions and afflictions. And so I took his certification. It's called Compassionate Inquiry.
Oh,
And it's about doing an inquiry with your clients and helping them figure out why they do what they do. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I would have loved to have this 20 years ago. And so his process of really linking, because our childhood matters. It just does.
Sure.
It's like a gardener plants some tomatoes. The gardener knows if we didn't plant it right and wasn't in good soil, sunlight and so on, right?
Is everything.
Yeah. So like I have really just been blown away about the breakthroughs to help my clients have because of using his tools of compassionate inquiry to figure out, why are you having this same repetitive argument with your spouse? Like what's going on? Because it's always unconscious. Like we don't know why we do what we do. Like we don't know why did I light up that cigarette again? I know it's bad. Why did I do that? Why did I drink? Why did I and shame and guilt never work.
Right.
I always say if shame and guilt worked, I'd be out of a job because like we
Right.
do that to ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And so, so I'm, I really enjoy helping people connect the dots that way and taking them through.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I highly recommend his books.
Yeah. So speaking of books, do you have a list of recommended books? Give us some of your top books.
So one of my so I coach coaches and I train coaches, and the first book that I always give is called The Presence Process by Michael Brown.
Okay.
And it is the best book on helping people learn to be present and to meditate. And it's probably got the best, in my opinion, sales copy to influence people to meditate. Because what this guy went through, he had like cluster headaches that no one could figure out. And he cured himself through this process. And it's like a guided 10-week process.
Interesting.
And it's so fascinating. One of the things that he says, one of my favorite quotes that he says is, awareness is the only tool required for authentic transformation. So when we're aware, like we've transformed. So it's becoming aware because so much of what we do is unconscious.
Yeah.
Like I've talked with you about when I like was addicted to the bad boys. And I didn't know why Mandy would always pick these abusive partners. I was unconscious, but once I became conscious of it, I attracted Curtis, who's like Prince Charming, like one of the best guys ever.
Right.
And it was because I became aware of that pattern. And so that book is money.
Yeah. How do we make people wake up? That's the question, right?
Yeah.
how do we make people, and by wake up, I mean, how do we make people aware?
Yeah. It's usually pain is usually our teacher. I mean, I look at like migraines, unfortunately, has been one of my biggest teachers, because I wouldn't have got his books. I wouldn't have been, because I wanted to get out of this pain. So whatever pain you're in is your teacher.
Yeah. No, that's good advice. What other books do you have for us?
I love all of Dr. Gabor Mate's. So you know me being a Kool-Aid drinker, he's the Kool-Aid I'm drinking. I love him. So he's got When the Body Says No. He has In the Realm of Hungry Ghost. If you have anyone who's suffering from addiction, that is the best book on addiction.
Interesting.
Because he talks about like what it actually takes to heal addiction. And then I also love, he's got another book great for parents called Hold On to Your Kids.
Oh.
And it's just one of the best books on conscious parenting and like what kids really need. I love that.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting to see that perspective for sure. Yeah, cool. So tell us a little bit about some of your biggest influences, and if you could have, we ask this question a lot, if you could have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, who would they be?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. Oh,
Great question.
I know. Okay, I would say definitely Dr. Gabor Mate, because he's been he's really helped me, and he's been such a tremendous teacher. And I think he's a brilliant man.
I'm gonna have to read some of this.
He's
after this.
yeah.
Highly recommended
My
business
my friends say that talking to me, like we could make a drinking game of every time Mandy says Dr. Gabor Mate, you have to take a drink. It's like that's how much I just love him. And then I've always just been fascinated in awe of Walt Disney and what he created.
Hunter,
Right?
Hunter.
Is that, hey, we're both Walt Disney. Yeah.
Yes.
Although I don't like Disneyland and Disney World.
I
don't want to go. Like it's.
I like Disney World. I'll say I
Yeah.
like Disney. We just went, and it was. I'm not gonna lie, with kids, it was a blast.
See, and I haven't done it with kids.
Oh, man.
So that would, I think I need to give
I'll
myself
loan you
a.
mine.
Okay, deal.
There we go. They will love it.
They are troopers.
Yeah.
I mean, at the time they were 5 and 3, and they walked the whole thing the whole time
My gosh.
on their own 2 feet. They were
Wow.
not carried.
Yeah,
That was part of the deal, and they didn't even complain once.
yeah.
It was very few tears that day. It was go, go, go.
Wow,
There you go,
they
the
were
magic
so.
of Disney.
And you like see it through their eyes, right?
Oh, for sure.
Which
yeah.
we're like, I'm like, it's hot. There's a line. I'm like,
Yeah.
ah.
Yeah, exactly. But they're just like pumped, and if they're pumped, you're pumped.
Right.
Yeah.
They see some character and they just light up the same that they would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Walker's face when we went on the roller coasters. Like, we couldn't do the big ones. But
Yeah.
we could do like the Gringotts one, and we did the Mummy, and like a lot of them were like the 3D.
Yeah.
And you're on the roller coaster, which, by the way, that's an experience. in itself.
Throw it somewhere else.
He's like sitting next to me, and Logan was too little, so Casey's like, yeah, you're going, and I'm like, cool, let's do it. I love roller coasters. So sitting next to me, and I'm like like touching him, making sure he's not freaking out or anything like that. Dude, we get out, and he's like, that was awesome. Let's do it again. And I'm like, okay, you are my child.
Oh,
This is good.
I love that.
That is so good. Like, okay,
Again, Dad.
we can be friends.
We can be friends now. I love that.
So Disney is
Yes.
another one. Yeah,
And then
you
the
have a
third one may surprise you, and don't laugh at me, but I really do mean it. Keanu Reeves.
Oh, dude, that's
We're not gonna
Keanu-
laugh at you
amazing.
about
I
that.
love
Oh my
Keanu
God.
Reeves.
Don't we all?
That guy is
He
like the
is-
coolest man on the planet.
He is the nicest guy.
Right?
And he's a badass.
Right?
But I gotta tell you, I gotta get this off my chest publicly.
Here we go.
Have you seen the new Matrix?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I don't really like violence. I love Keanu.
Okay.
So I pay
So
attention.
you're not a John Wick guy.
No. No. No.
Yeah, see, I love John Wick.
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
see you
sure.
loving John Wick.
Yeah, I want to be John Wick. But I'm going to be honest with you. I was not a fan of how the ending played out.
Really?
Like,
How come?
I think that it's cool, like, them together is stronger and stuff, but, like...
Spoiler alert, anybody.
Spoiler alert. the
Eric,
whole
it
thing
ended
with-
happy. I love the
It
ending.
did end up happy, but, like,
come
he was a
on.
baby at the end. Like, he was totally, like, weak sauce, and she, like, had to pull him out of it. Yeah, spoiler alert. You haven't seen this.
Kind of. I haven't
But I'm
seen
like,
it, but I'm still in the
Dude,
dark.
that's not the Neo that we know and love.
It showed the feminine power, though. And to
Which-
me, it was like
which is,
foreshadowing.
in my opinion, being way overdone in Hollywood right now. Like, every movie is
Well,
like,
sometimes
girl power. I love girl power. Don't get me wrong.
No, we
I
know
love girl power, but there's just, like, you totally just trampled on Neo from the Matrix. Like, what's going on here?
He did put up a very good fight. And you know, I think the
did.
thing that was admirable about his character is that despite all the obstacles, like, he wasn't going to give up on getting her.
No, I think that's absolutely true. But I think the fact that she literally carried the team at the end, I'm like, come on.
This is neat.
Come on, how
That's-
many times has Casey carried the team, huh?
She
Right?
The difference is it is all the time, and it was since day one.
Right?
Okay, I wasn't Mia. I wasn't the one.
Exactly.
She
See,
started off.
that's just the
as
truth
one.
of it, you know?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like they kind of bastardized his character a little bit at the end, just a little bit. It kind of drove me nuts. But otherwise, I thought it was great.
There was so many good lines.
was
So
a
many
lot of
so many
good
good lines about like mind control and truth and like
There was.
Yeah. I mean, you know, like my favorite quote from Keanu is something about people need to realize that Matrix is actually a documentary.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like
no. I love the Matrix movies.
Yeah.
Like, they are...
Same.
Like, I grew up on the original Matrix movie. It's phenomenal. Like,
Yeah.
just phenomenal. And that's kind of why it's... The new one was, like, so much different than, like, the original Matrix, because he, like, swoops in and saves the day.
Yeah.
Because he's the one. Like, he's the one dodging bullets at the end.
Right.
And now in this one, it's kind of like... meh. Well, I mean, he's still a badass, but, like... He's not really what he once was.
I
I'm
get
like,
you.
Come on, bring him back.
He got
I
old.
get you.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. And he's
Yeah.
taking the blue pill and like, yeah. I get you as a man, like you probably lived vicariously through.
Absolutely.
And it was like, wait a minute, I don't want to be this guy.
Yeah.
So I understand.
Not as much.
Right.
But I mean, at the end, you know, they came. It kind of came full circle, and they were both doing their thing, and they're happily ever after, which is great.
Which
and
is
all.
a Mandy ending. That's what I want. I want a
You're
happily.
a rom-com gal.
Yes.
We know this.
Yes.
We know this.
I
So,
taught you the term rom-com, didn't I?
You taught me that term.
Oh, really? You didn't even know that term
I'm
until
like, what the heck is a rom-com? She's like a romantic comedy.
Hello,
I'm like,
Eric.
obviously, like, oh, I've never seen one of those, literally. Except for P.S. I Love You. That's a classic.
That is so sad.
It's
Oh
so
my
sad.
gosh.
haven't
I
seen that
can't
one.
watch it because
Gerard Butler.
I have an
Oh, I
extremely
love
hard
him.
time with sad movies.
me too.
Rom-coms, actually, yes, I get on board. You can.
Do you
imagine
love a
it, but
rom-com?
yes,
Will
I
you
love
confess? Will you share one that you love?
Well, Hitch is my favorite.
I
by
love
far.
Hitch.
Yeah, that one's
I
my
love
favorite.
Hitch.
What's your top two?
Oh my gosh, it's
movies
so
in
hard.
general, not
Ugh.
just rom-coms. Although they might both be.
That
rom-coms.
is, I really love. It's an older movie with Robert Downey Jr. because he's like one of the best actors of our time.
I agree.
So him and Marissa Tomei, Only You.
Oh,
It's so cute. Yeah, it's an older movie, like early
So
90s.
Before his drugs?
Yeah. Oh
It
yeah.
had to have been
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. It was before he went to rehab and became
Yeah.
Tony Stark.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, his story is so. He'd be another good one. If I'm gonna add a fourth one, Robert Downey Jr.
that's true.
He
He's
is,
my.
he is a stud.
Yeah, yeah. No, I love that movie. And then another one that's just so profound and not a lot of people know about it is Powder. Have you ever heard of Powder?
No.
Powder is like it's about oh man, the guy on Jurassic Park, tall with big lips. What's his name? And big eyes. And he always plays like a quirky scientist guy.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
is he
Jeff
like-
Goldblum.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Jeff
there you
So
go.
Jeff Goldblum's in Powder, and it's very profound. And it's
1995.
about an albino kid with like these special powers,
Oh.
and in this like small country town, and no one understands him.
Is that the one where like runs out in the rain and lightning gets him?
Yes.
Interesting. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
No,
no,
I remember that clip. I saw that clip sometime when I was young because I
Yeah.
was born in 95, and so
Oh my gosh.
around that time. And
Graduated high school in '96.
anyways, I remember seeing that, and it's burned in my brain that
Yeah.
part where he's out in the rain. It's just like anyway, it's crazy.
Yeah,
He's just taking it. It's weird, crazy.
It's beautiful. Put it on your list, Powder. You'd like it. You and Casey would like
So
it.
if you're watching a movie on like a casual Friday night, what's your go-to?
Wow, man, that's I'm actually binging with my niece right now, Vampire Diaries.
Oh, I believe it. I'm not even surprised.
I love Vampire Diaries. I'm like,
not
oh my
even
gosh,
surprised.
it's so good.
I'm not gonna lie. I watched the first season like right when it came out because of my wife. But
Yeah.
it
so
was not
good.
bad when it
Yeah.
started.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, there's a lot of series that I like just like drifted off of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's easy.
Do you have a favorite series? Anything that's hooked you that you're like, oh,
The first series I ever watched was Dexter.
okay.
I never watched a series before Dexter. I love Dexter. The new, they came out with a kind of a new revamped Dexter called like New Blood or something like that. And I am most of the way through that, and it's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, Michael C. Hall's, I mean, I love the inner monologue in that show, and he's just really clever. So that, and then of course Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I couldn't watch that.
Yeah, it's Game of
Way
Thrones
too
is
violent.
not
Too
your
violent.
style.
So
Yeah.
I watch Vampire Diaries with my niece Kendall, who's seen it like 100 times, and she has a code word called applesauce.
Oh.
And she says applesauce whenever something violent's going to happen, and I put the cover over my head.
Oh, that's kind of nice to have her around, though, so you know.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that's hilarious.
Yeah, because I don't like seeing the violence, but I love their
Yeah.
characters. And,
I have a real problem like getting into shows that are like really graphic.
Yeah.
Anyways. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just who I am.
But my
Sometimes
husband
it
and I
takes away from story. I think that's the issue. Sometimes.
exactly. If there's too much, it's like
Yeah.
It's almost going for the shock factor, and I don't want
Yeah.
that.
Have you seen any of Yellowstone?
So my husband and I watch
I've heard of
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone.
Yes,
Is that one graphic?
that
I
it
mean,
can be violent.
It can be violent, but it's more so just the extreme.
Is it good?
nature. It pulls at heartstrings.
Oh my gosh, it
It's
really does. I
phenomenal.
love Kevin Costner. Can we have him come too?
Dude,
Let's
Kevin
have Kevin.
Costner is like,
Yeah.
Legend.
He's not
Legend.
even Kevin Costner anymore. He's John Dutton.
He is. You're right.
He can't play anything else now.
It's so
That's just
true.
him.
That's
It's
all
so
right.
true.
He's had a wonderful career. He could just play that guy.
That's
and
true.
be done.
Exactly.
Have you seen, one of my clients pointed this out to me the other day. Have you seen the guy that plays Rip in real life?
No.
He is, what's his name? Something Hauser or something like that. Anyway, he is a redhead
No way.
and clean shaven.
No way. Are you serious?
And he has like some
What's
sort
his
of
character's name?
Rip.
It's like Rip. Yeah, it's like Colehausen or something like that.
Oh, Cole Hauser.
Colehauser. That's
Like
it.
I can hear the people listening who are fans of Yellowstone.
Yes. Oh, show her.
Wow.
should
Oh, I've
see
seen
him
him on other
totally.
movies, but I didn't recognize him. And he even has like,
Yeah.
it's almost like they make.
character looks like?
Yeah.
Is that what his character looks like?
Yes.
It's
Yeah,
more like
dark
that?
hair. Yeah.
That's
Wow, yeah, he
what
looks
we know and
completely
love.
different.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
wild.
Isn't that
That
nuts?
is wild.
That-
yeah.
yeah.
No, my husband loves Yellowstone. I like Yellowstone. I get like so anxious watching it.
Yeah.
I just like, it gives me so much anxiety because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's going to happen.
Well, I'm going to have to give that a look.
It is high anxiety. Well, we're gonna wrap it up. It's been an absolute
This
pleasure.
was so fun.
having
Thank
on.
you.
We're super extra cash in here, right?
Thank you.
No pressure, but I thank you so much for coming out and being on the Powerlifting podcast, and we will do this again.
I would love it. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you for joining us on the Power of Lifting podcast. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. For more content like this, follow Eric Cafferty and the Mecca Gym on all social media platforms.